Okay. Now, these are the topics we cover in today's class. Now, to work with HTML forms. Now, to capture form data with HTML form data with PHP. How to validate the forms. How to deal with multi-valued fields. Okay. How to generate the applicable forms. We have to create a file uploading forms. These are all concepts we will discuss in today's class. Now, let's go by one. The objective of this unit is, so what we're going to learn after this unit is, we can learn how to work with HTML forms, and also we can capture the data from a form using PHP, and we validate the form in PHP process, and we'll be familiar with multi-valued fields, and we can able to create better forms, and we can able to load our forms. So these are the objectives we will get in this unit complete. Now let us see. Yesterday we started the discussion on this, and today we will continue these topics. Now to capture the form data using PHP, so we write like this, and we use the attribute for this an attribute for this address, and this address contain, this is a file name, and this is an extension. PHP is an extension, and the method we use is post. Method we use is post. So what will happen if we use the post method? See here, it will hold a list of all fields and the values sent by the form and response to the post method. Okay. So this is the action is going to perform. So in response to user submission of the form, the form handler.php, this is a file. This is a file. Please run. Okay, this file will be run. Now, following submission of the form, the script process has submitted submitters data. Okay. This is we are going to uh, capture the form data. Now, can go through this example. Go through this example. We can say this. Now, through this. Take that. Take this program. Take this program. We will understand the program. This is the doc file and it's HTML open and close. And this ID is open and close. And this the cassette and this is a title open and close. And inside this, see the body tag open and close. Inside the body, we are able to simply, some text to contact us. It is going to display on the page like this. Is the page heading. And after that, we are able to print the subheading. This is subheading. By using the paragraph tag, we are printing the subheading. This is. And after that, We are writing the form. This is a form tag open and close. Now inside this form opening tag, this is the opening tag. This is opening tag. This is opening tag. And this is closing. In the opening tag, we are using the two attributes, action and a method. And for the action attribute, we are passing the file. This is a PHP file. Script we are passing. So the script file name is what? Process-form. This is a PHP file. The method we are using the post method. Now inside this, we are using form labels. This is one tag. This is one tag. This is one tag. This is one tag. Okay. So one, two, three. Okay. And this is four. This is the label we have used. This is the form label name. This is the form label name. This is the label email form label. And this is one more label subset. And this is a text area, multi-value text area. Okay. And these are two buttons. There are two buttons here. Submit button and reset button. This is reset button. And this is the submit button. Now this is the form design. Okay. This is a form design, simple form design. This is. Now you have to understand here each and every tag and their attributes. Their attributes. What are the mandatory attributes and what are the optional attributes for a given tag? Okay. Now this is a tag, input is a tag. So the input tag, there is no end tag word. There is no end tag word. So it is self tag. And the same time label is end tag word. So we are end tag is for. Okay. And for this label term, there is an attribute called for. Okay. And here inside this, we have used the one more type called super service, superscript, SUP, superscript we have used. Now, this is a simple form design. A simple form design. The same thing we have written inside this here. Now, see one more form here. See one more form here. So it's not a form actually, it's just a simple HTML script. A simple HTML script. See this. Whatever we written, this is a title. Title will be displayed as on a web page. Actually, as part of the web page, it will display. But it's an online website. They have taken from the online, so it's not displayed here. And this HTML is a doc type. HTML open and close. The head open and close. The body open and close. Now inside the head, we have written the title and meta tag. The two tags we have written. And inside the body tag, we written the heading tag. This is the heading tag. Heading. This heading is displayed from here. And the paragraph is displayed from the paragraph. It's the paragraph tag. And in the order list, we have written here. The list tag we have written. Order list and an order list. It's an order list. Okay. For the order list, see, we have to display the numbers, the numbers and the order list nature it is. Okay. Order list it is. Now, use simple HTML page. simple HTML page. We go down again from validation. We see from validation is a from validation. See here. This is now here about this. There is a title and laptop is there. It's HTML and the body tag is opening post. Now inside this, we have written the form here. See, it's a form opening the post. And under the action attribute, they have written the file. They have written the file. The file is a contact.php. This is a separate script they are running. The method is a post method. Okay. Now again under this, we see is a heading tag H2 is a display left from H2 tag, and this is only paragraph tag. Okay, and this field, the main field is coming from the label. This is the label, and normally one more label from your previous object label, and this is the message label, and the two buttons, submit button and the reset button. Okay, this is a form design. And then for this form, what we are doing, we are giving the script here, contact.php script we are passing, and method we are using your post method. Okay. This is the validation. This is the current form validation. See, the process of capturing and displaying. What it is written in basic see, the process of capturing and displaying the submitted form data is very straightforward. Okay, it's demonstrated in the previous section we have seen already. Okay. Now we have developed what we have developed the PHP script that will perform the following functions. For the to perform following functions, we have written one PHP script here. So what are the kind of functions it has to perform? Just see once. Now see the website will ask the user to provide feedback regarding the website. This is the one function it has to perform. The same script will also display a contact form and process the information provided by the user. Okay, this is one more function. And this is one. Now that is one task, and next one is input is sanitized and validated by the scripter. Okay. So what is the kind of a job the .php file is to perform is, and the script displays the form. Again, if any required field is missing or validation failed due to incorrect input, and the error message is displayed for the corresponding field. So these are the kind of activities it has to perform. And upon display of the form due to validation error, the script remembers which field the user has already filled out and updates those fields. So these are the kind of functionalities it has to perform. Now say the PHP just happen. And the function we are using here, filter me, there is the input, field is the input, okay? And we are validating the username here, validating the user, okay? And if the user is there, it will execute this logic, or else it will return the false, okay? And after that, we are validating the email ID, we are validating the email ID, okay? Just check this program. And this is an email validation. The email is valid. We will execute this logic. If it is not valid, it will execute this logic. Okay. Now, after that, the similar way we will evaluate the other fields also, message field and other fields also, like this. So this is the way the PHP will be validated the HTML form. Like the HTML form, it will validate the HTML form data. So that is a validation. The next one is how to deal with the multi-value fields. To deal with the multi-value fields here. Now see this program, and this HTML open and close, and this the head open and close with the title in the body, and inside the body you just we are writing the plain text here, and this is a paragraph, and this is a form. Somewhere we will do open and close, and action. For the action attribute, we are processing the process registration, multi-valued document for PHP file. So this is the file we are writing with PHP script type. The method is post method. And for this, let's see here. For this, these are the list of fields: first name, last name, and user password, reset password, and they are taking the gender or the male or female like this. And then after that, they are taking one more field for whatever favorite features, and they are taking this field one. And after one more field, we want to receive our one more phone times in newsletter like this. So these are the multi-valued fields. It is what the multi-valued fields. Simply displaying the web form. This is just an HTML page. And this is an output. This is an output. And how to generate the web forms. How to generate the web forms using purpose of these forms is to submit the information and separate files or else in a database in organized and logical manner. And there is only one difference between PHP web forms and HTML forms is here the PHP script is used in the action method along with the transaction. Whereas the HTML form is a separate. We don't use any script for PHP script. We use the action attribute and method. The first point is we will discuss now what is the form fields step one. We will begin by specifying the PHP script in the form action attribute. It is the type of attribute. And the data transaction according to PHP reference. Now here is a form tag, the action attribute, and the subfile. And one more attribute is called method, and where it goes to the value. Okay, goes to the value. And first, what we do, first we have to take two files here. First, we have to create two files. One is an HTML file and another one PHP file. And both the files must be the same names. Okay? Same name. See here. Now one file is what PHP file welcome.php. This is now for this. And these are the fields. And finally, we close the tags here to the form body. And that is welcome.html. So one file is welcome.html, one more is welcome.php. So these are the two files we give it first. Then after that, defining the script functionality. So how it has to execute it, what is the logic to be executed, the functionality to do that using the functionality in the section. Just go through this, go through one and not any important points there. Now after that, after writing the functionality, the next step is we'll enter the values. First we'll create the two files. Then after that we'll the functionality. Skip the functionality. Then after that we'll enter the values. Now this is the example. Just see this is an example. Now this is the field input field. Is a label. Is a label. Now this is the email ID. This is the email ID label. The website is a label. And one is comment. Then our gender is a gender. Okay. So this is a simple HTML form. Then how to handle the form, how to handle the forms in PHP. Now in PHP, the forms can be created and used. You can create the forms and you can use the forms. Okay. So yeah, we can create the forms and we can use the forms. But it is not necessary that to utilize the PHP other globals. Okay. In order to obtain the form data. That is the get method and post method. Now there are two types of form requests there. One is a get and post request. These are the two kinds of request. Get request and post request. And we must use the get request in order to retrieve the data from the get request. And the post request when you will use it to retrieve the data from the post request. Okay. So here is the get form. Now your get is a default request type. Since the data passed through the get request is visible on the URL function, okay, but cannot be protected. Now the amount of the data can be passed through the get request is limited. Okay. It is a limited. It is the use of the get request. Now when you go to the post request, the post request method is widely used to submit the forms that includes large amount of data. Example, uploading the files, uploading the images, submitting the login forms, and submitting the registration forms. All these kind of data can be handled through post request. A very limited data can be handled through GET request. Now, data sent through the post request is not visible on the URL project. Whereas the data can sent on the GET request is visible on the URL. Okay. So, maintaining the confidentiality. The post requests are capable of transmitting large amount of data. So, these are the kind of differences between GET request and the post request. Now, example here is you see some example here. Now, for simple HTML file, HTML. Inside, if you want to convert the head, we convert that your body. Now, simple form is open source. Now, inside this is an action you have to do. And this is a script welcome back here. The method is what post. Yeah, this is one label, this is one label, name of email. This is simple form. Simple form. Now, it's going to display the output levels. Post complete form is going to display the output levels. And we will submit button. Submit button. Okay. Now, this is one more examples. One more example. It's name balance of. Now, you can see how to create in the files uploading forms. Create in the file uploading forms. PHP creates a super global array name of files. Which contain various pieces of information regarding a particular file or files. So this program here with a type HTML open close, open close, form open close. Then the action attribute this is the method used is post method, and the encoding type is multi-part and multi-part. The input tag, store. Now this example, it's an example of the formula. It's an output complete. It's the form display and output. Also, yeah, by clicking on this, we can choose the image to be uploaded like this. This is an example. Now, these are all the examples we have to practice to get perfect on this uh, all topics. So, redirecting after a form submission. After form submission is over, how to redirect the form. Using this program can redirect the form. If you can redirect the form by using the so you won't have your using and redirect to on your page. And so this is- So these are all the topics of the this unit 4. You can see the next unit 5. And what is this unit 5 topics are is preserving state, query strings, cookies, and sessions. Preserving the state with query strings, cookies, and sessions. Okay. Now, what are the kind of topics we complete in the concept in the similarities? Preserving state with the query strings, which cookies, and the query string parameters in PHP. And PHP query string by two parameters, PHP error, define index, and working with the cookies. Using PHP to create the cookies, create entries, so PHP, and auto modify the value related to the and whether the cookies are enabled or not, and the PHP sessions to store data. So these are the kind of topics we will cover in this session. Now, to completing this topic, we have to will have the knowledge of the query statement in PHP, and we'll have to create modify, delete, enable cookies. And you can have the knowledge on the to store data in PHP sessions. So these are the kind of areas we get knowledge after completing this work. Now, see what is saving state with query strings. Saving state with query strings. Now, the query string parameter is generally associated with the search with features. Now, the query string is similar to a question. Now, the parameter can be seen as an operator. An example is, see the example in this. So the cookies here. Now, when we notice something in the when we notice anything in the URL, so we enter this question into the Google. So any search engine, whether from being Google anything. So when it is the search question linked to the top of the website address. Okay, that is section URL section. Now beginning of the query string, that is here is the beginning of the query string. And question mark with the letter Q are the parameters. So here we are only one search it from here dot PHP. Now multiple parameters. This also work with multiple parameters. Yeah, like no. Q and Q and QS. Okay. Now here the apostrophe example here the parameters are separated by an apostrophe and percent and followed by the equal sign. This is an exception of the first parameter. The parameter starts with the question mark. Okay. And the second parameter is the Q followed by the equal sign. Now to get getting query string parameter in PHP is now see your example is we type any cookies here. Now see in this address bar, you can observe if you observe this address bar, you'll understand this. So this we are talking about question mark and percent is equal to this one. Okay. And PHP query strings with the multiple parameters. The multiple parameters here. So it is necessary in the future to set the multiple parameters in your URL. Okay. To obtain those parameters with PHP. So this is an example code we have to use. It's an example code. How to working with the cookies. In many cases, cookies are used to identify a particular user. If you see in your browser search history, you will find cookies there. So any particular user, if you wanted to identify, they can use the cookies. In simple term, what we call a cookie is a small file embedded on user's computer by a server. A kind of file, it's a kind of small file. Okay, it's a kind of small file, a small file embedded on user's computer by a server. If the user's computer, this is a server, the user computer, from the server, they will embed one file. This is the file. Okay, this is a file. The server will store some one file in the user computer. Okay. So this file will use our data whether we are a regular user or not. Okay. And that is what it's saying. The key will send every time the same computer request a page to a browser. Okay. And the PHP allows the creation and retrieval of cookies values. So that is the main. Now using PHP to create cookies. Now to create a cookie with the PHP script. Now here the function is set cookie. This function will create the cookie. There is only one required parameter called name. The remaining parameters are optional. That means it's a mandatory. It is a mandatory. In star market, the mandatory. And remaining all are optional. Remaining all are optional. So this way by using the method called set cookie, we can create the now create retrieve at in PHP. So how to create we have seen. Now to retrieve also is procedure is there. So key name is user. It will be created which contains the value for user value, and this cookie will expire after 30 days. So indicate that cookie is available throughout the entire website. It not select a direct to do refer. Okay. Now see your now this is set cookies, cookie in this input we are passing. For the input we are passing, this is the user, then the value we are passing, the time we are passing. Okay. So that is equal to 1 day. It's equal to 1 day. So in that way, we will create the cookie and we will retrieve the now see here program. If you observe this program, the PHP, this is open and close. Now inside this, this is a set cookie. We are setting the cookie here and putting in the value. This is it. They are validating the cookie. We are just validating the cookie here. Now to modify the cookie values, now to modify the cookie value, so we can modify the cookie value by setting it then on using the set cookie function. Okay, set cookie function, we can modify the cookie value. Okay. And before that, what the function we have used here? Okay, set cookie function. Just note on this program. Just note on this program. Now this is how to modify a cookie value. Program is about how to modify the cookie value. Yes, here set cookie assets. We can modify the cookie value, and also we can delete the cookie and delete the cookie. That's also by setting the user in the time and delete the cookie here. And we can verify that the cookies are enabled or not. Can verify the cookies are enabled or not. And then after that, using the PHP sessions to store data. So how to, so what is the session of PHP will use? See here. So we need to store data related to specific user temporarily. Sometimes we need to store the data related to specific user temporarily. Okay. So a user browsers our website. Okay. The user browses our website. Temporarily, we store some data related to user. Now, if you want to store later the user's preferences or secret display, that is the caption age, for instance. So the PHP sessions allow to do this. Is there a difference? The difference between storing data in cookies and session variables. Okay. So in light of this, the information in the previous section, so the session you can already store small amount of data related to a particular user through cookies. So already related to cookies, we already stored small amount of data that is a file. Now the user cookies and sessions data differs in the number of ways. So the difference between using of cookies and sessions. Here the sum of the most important difference is say this session data is stored on the web server and the cookies are returned to the user's browser. So where the session data is stored on the your web server. That is our web server. Okay. But the cookies are returned to the user's browser. So almost any period of time can be specified for the cookie's lifespan. The cookie's lifespan can be specified, but in the PHP session with short lifespan, session is only limited time. So the cookies are having the little more time than the session. So based on the configuration of the PHP, the server and the host, the exact lifespan will vary. Depends on the cookies and the session. Now, session data is often stored on the server in the public temporary directory. Where the session data is stored, session data is stored on the server, in public directory. So depending on the configuration of your web server. Okay. Now, therefore, the possibility that the other users on the server may be able to see the data you store for. Okay. So others also can access the data on the server. And when session should be used in the different stream. So about different syntax to the cookies or session should be used to store your data on what you have to do. So there is a list is there to turn up comprehensive. So in a case where the data needs to be stored on the server, not on the user's browser, one point to be remembered. And the cookies returned to the users are to be set and is stored in the user's browser. So it's not always advisable to do this. We should not do like that. It's not uncommon for web comment forms to display captcha tests. So it displays an image that shows a few random letters and numbers, and the users are required to enter those characters to demonstrate that they are human and spam bots. This is the one way of checking the people users within a web bot. The next one is the script that generates the image must store the secret word somewhere. But the program that performs the checking is able to verify the user's answer. That is one point to be remembered. And one more is it's not a good idea in such cases to return cookie to the user. Okay. Since the spam bot can discover the secret word account, saving the that you wish to encrypt the user the secret word before storing it in the cookie. You can however use PHP sessions instead. Whenever the data is temporary and relevant to only the current browsing session, so in that case only we can use. And view of fact, we cannot predict how long your session data will be retained. Okay, that is one more point to remember. And it makes sense only use sessions when you do not need the data for long period of time. So when we have to use the sessions limits, when we don't want the data for long period of time, in that case, you have to use the session concept. Okay. In the matter of fact, what we have to do, the data store should not be particularly important. So if it wants to due to its expiration, that is not the end of the world. And the data does not contain any information that must be kept securely. Session data is stored on your web server in a temporary directory. Where the session data is stored on the web server in a temporary directory. We store in a temporary directory. So typically publicly accessible folder that anyone with an account on the computer will have access to. Anyone can access this data. So therefore, you should be very cautious about the information that you store in the session folder. That's why storing credit card numbers, yeah, is not advisable to store in the session data. So personal data, credit card number, personal details, passwords, usernames, and some information in your session data. This kind of data should not be used in the session variables. Despite the fact that this point appears to be in a position to the regarding the capture secret word, it is not. But capture is what exactly is capture is a good method of distinguishing the spam box from indicators. So in fact, it is not a really secret. The project is played in plain with various browser. I are not required to display the secret word to anyone, same web server as me. It's not possible that passing to such with this information, but even if you are possible. So in worst case, what we have to do, only we have to receive the several more spam messages to inspect storing customer data for the information of password. Okay. Now to implement the such sessions in the PHP state, now to use such sessions in PHP state, you need to follow the following steps. What are the steps to be followed to implement according to the guidelines given and above section. Just read one, first point to read. Now this is one point is setting up the session. Okay, one point is setting up the session. The next one point is there is no parameter to the session start function. The next one is storage and access to variables. The next one is terminating the session. Terminating the session. These are the points to be remembered when we are implementing the sessions in PHP. So what is the kind of data to be stored in the session? We have to select very carefully. So these are some of the guidelines to be followed when we are implementing the sections in PHP. Okay. This is all about the 50th unit, and we'll discuss the remaining units in the next class.